Hi guys, and welcome to the video. So for this video we have another switch controller that is faulty. Again, I didn't get much of a description on what's wrong with it other than it's broke and don't work. So we're gonna hook it up and test it and see what's wrong with it. So we've got the switch here. I'm just going to make sure it's powered on. And I'm going to see if it pairs, which it does, as you can see. I'm going to go into the button testing and see if there's any buttons that are faulty. Okay, so it appears the SR and SL buttons are non-functioning on this one. Very peculiar. Let's just try resyncing it. It doesn't seem to want to work. I'm feeling a vibration, but I'm not seeing any lights here. And I'm not seeing any response from these buttons. So that's interesting. So I think we need to get this apart and have a look, see what's going on. I have noticed that there's a little bit of contamination, a bit of, you see the bit of grease here. Perhaps some greasy fingers have been at it. So we'll take it apart and we'll see what's wrong with it. As usual, we're going to be using the Y piece for these Nintendo controllers. I'm just going to get these screws out. Okay, we'll see if we can prise this open. We have lights. I don't know whether you saw, but we have some lights there. It's trying to sync up, which is good. Okay, so I'm just going to inspect it just for any signs of loose connections. I'll zoom in. Okay, so I'm going to hit the other light. Okay, so just going to have a general look around, see if there's any loose connections, because that wasn't responding. I'm also going to test some of these buttons. My guess is there's some kind of contamination in here, perhaps some liquid damage as well, but we're going to have a look, as everything is a little sticky. Let's get it back together. See if there's any response from the switch. Okay, so all the buttons are still responsive. We'll disconnect it. We'll do what we did last time. We'll do that again and see what happens. It's still registering buttons. Right, there. See that power light come on there when I did that? That means there's a loose connection somewhere. Okay, that is now registering these two buttons here. So, my guess is that something's gotten in here. You see all this grease and everything? Something's gotten in here. We have a loose, either a loose connection, or see that going on and off. My guess is it's this power connection here. So we're going to have a look at that. There's just one more test I wanted to do, which I hadn't done yet. So I'm just going to pop this back together loosely. I'm not going to put the screws back in. I'm just going to do an analog test to see if the analog sticks are working. Right, we have a delayed response on this analog stick as well. It is actually fairly loose. It is returning to center, but it's taking a while, which would lead me to believe that whatever's sticky in there is also in the analog stick as well. So we're going to replace that as well. Okay, I've just noticed this. Watch. See that? On, off, on, off, on, off. So it's actually this. This is non-responsive. This, as you can see, it responds on and off. Okay, so it could be this. So we're going to have a look at this. So let's have a look. I'll zoom out for you. Okay, nice swift motion. Let's get this top bit off as well. So let's just turn this over. Get this cable so it sits out. We'll pull the R button out and the spring. Make sure the spring doesn't go anywhere. We'll flip this over and we'll have a look around the board. It all looks fairly dry, to be fair. I'll zoom in. It all looks fairly dry, and there doesn't seem to be any contamination. But it does. We do have some down here. You might be able to see it glistening, which says to me this has had some kind of spill on it. I think it's coming from this end. Let me zoom out. So I don't think the connection problem is coming from this end here. I think it's coming from this end here. If you look at that, I push that and it goes off. So intermittent contact here. So let's get this board out and we'll see what happens here. Let's get this part out. So if we just disconnect this ribbon cable here, pop that up. You're always worried about breaking something because everything's so delicate, and then we'll get this board out and we'll have a look, see what's going on. I don't really want to, I want to try and avoid pulling the buttons out as well, but if that happens, so be it. Okay, so we'll very carefully move everything out of the way. So this is the board, this is the problem, this one here. I do actually have a spare one of these. I'm going to see if that affects it at all. We'll hook the board up and we'll see what the problem is. Okay, so I've got this replacement board here. We're just going to hook it up very basically, hook the battery up and see what happens. Oh, I will screw it into there. I'll screw it in place just to make life a little easier on myself. Hate it when that happens. Ah, spot on. There we go. That's in. Sometimes it's just a matter of lining the screws up. Okay. So we'll pop this back in. Yep. Okay, so that's in. We'll pop the battery back on and have a look, see if it's working. Okay, so there we go. Just press the button. It's synced up. There's no connection issues. Okay, so that is that problem solved. Now I'm going to get the analog stick out and replace the analog stick. I'm also going to run some IPA around the edges. I'm not going to take the rest of the board out. I don't believe it needs it. It all looks pretty clean. It's just around this edge. It could probably do with a bit of a, yeah, a bit of a clean. I can hear my switch responding to the button presses. There you go, the SR button's working fine. Okay, so that's that repaired. I'm going to get this analog stick replaced and we'll go from there. Okay, so before I put this back together with the back screws, I'm just going to double check and test one more time on the switch. So it pairs okay. We have response from all the buttons, including the new analog stick. And we're going to disconnect it and we're going to test it separately. So you see it lights up, SR, SL. That is now completely working. Everything works on it, as you can tell. Brilliant. So I'm going to put these last 4 screws in. I always find it best just to place them in first, because these aren't so magnetic. Okay, so it's back together. I'll just give it a one final test. And we'll align the analog stick as well. Okay, just check, make sure that that is working. Everything seems fine there. It returns to center very well. So that is it. That is a fully fixed Nintendo Switch Lite controller. It had the issue with the SL and SR buttons, and it had analog stick drift. So that's it. It's all fixed. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like if you did, and consider subscribing to the channel. I do have other Switch repair videos, certainly with the controllers. I'll link those in the description. I'll put the cards up as well. Thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, look after yourselves. Take it easy. Bye-bye for now.
I need the silence, stop the violence of the war in my head. Time's the healer, the eraser of all done and said. And as I fall back to my shelter,